Hey everybody, it's Emily at ARG Schooling, and today I'm going to be bringing you some spooky middle grade recommendations. So I already did a video recommending books for adults for this spooky season, so I thought today let's talk about middle grade. Let's talk about spooky read-alouds. I see a lot of people wanting to introduce their children to more spooky things this time of year. Maybe your child already wants to read something spooky, but you just don't know what to pick up. Or you're looking for something that's creepy vibes, but not that scary. So I have 5 recommendations today and 3 suggestions. A recommendation is a book that I've read. A suggestion is one that I haven't read yet, but it sounds fun, and so I want to talk about it, but I can't say anything specific about it because I haven't read it. So anyway, I have my 5 recommendations we'll do first. Now, I'm going in order from least scary to most scary. So to start this off, the least scary middle grade recommendation I have is Ghosts by Raina Telgemeier. This is a graphic novel about sisters. The younger sister has cystic fibrosis. They've just moved to this new coastal town in Northern California because the little sister has cystic fibrosis and they're looking for better doctors, better treatments, and that sort of thing. And the town is haunted, and the younger sister is just fascinated by these ghosts and wants to meet them and become more comfortable with them. And it's kind of like a story about coming to terms with the idea of death and that sort of thing. It's about sisters and their relationship, and it's just a lot of fun and spooky, and it's, like I said, spooky vibes, but not scary. There are ghosts, but they're not frightening ghosts. They're more like kind, friendly ghosts. Perfect for your child who craves spooky things but isn't really ready for scary. My next recommendation is Opies Ghosts by Justina Ireland. I have an entire lit bite for this book, so if you're interested in doing a whole spooky study in October, I highly recommend checking that out. This is a story that is historical fantasy because it is set in a historical time period, but obviously being that there are ghosts and hauntings and that sort of thing, it's got fantastical elements to it. In this story, we're following Ophi and her mother as they move out of their town in the south to go up north. So it's a bit of a great migration sort of a story. This is set in like the turn of the century. I will state out front that there is some dark stuff in this book. It's not necessarily very scary, but we are dealing with like racism. We're dealing with like her father is getting killed in the beginning of the story, and that's pretty upsetting. It's not overly graphic, but it does happen. And so the ghosts that we meet in this story, there are some like really sad elements to it. So this is a little bit heavier, but I wouldn't qualify it as scary. But it does have some more sad undertones to it, so be aware of that going in. The story, though, is so good, so interesting part of history to study. And the way that the author uses the ghosts to explore racism and how it affects everybody, I thought was really, really well done. The writing is great. I just think it's a really engaging story and perfect for this time of year. My next recommendation is Ghost Squad by Claribel A. Ortega. This one is so much fun. If you enjoyed things like The Goonies and that sort of like spooky vibe, this book is for you. This one is super fun. We're following 2 best friends, and they are like ghost hunters. One of them can see ghosts. If you can get the audiobook too, there's a lot of Spanish in the story, so if you are considering this as a read aloud, I think the audiobook is phenomenal. I had to do that because I'm not great with pronunciation and I did not wish to just butcher an entire language. So we listened to the audiobook for this one, and it was just so much fun. This story follows 2 best friends, Lucely and Sid. It's set during Halloween. They are trying to solve this mystery. I guess one of the girls, it's been over a year since I read this, I think one of the girls can see ghosts in like her family, ancestors live with her, so like she's always surrounded by her family ancestors, their spirits, and something starts to happen to them, and she's trying to solve this mystery and save her father's ghost tour that he does, and there's just a whole lot going on, but it's so much fun. This has perfect Halloween vibes, so a little bit scarier than the first two books that I've mentioned, just in that there are some like villains, but most of the ghosts in this are of the friendly variety. This next recommendation is the one that I've read the furthest back, so bear with me. And that is Nightmares. This one's by Jason Segel and Kirsten Miller. I read this aloud with my twins years ago when this first came out. I don't even know when did this come out. This is an older one. Yeah, back in 2014. My gosh. So this is a story where nightmares start to come true and like really happen in real life. And we're following this kid who just like thinks everything's gone wrong in his life, and they've just moved into this creepy house. He thinks his father is marrying, I think he thinks she's a witch or something like that. And he's just very upset about having to be in this house, and he starts having nightmares, and his nightmares start happening during the day. And he and his friends all kind of work together to stop the nightmares from happening in real life. And this is an ongoing series, but I've only read the first book. I cannot speak to the rest of the series, but I remember this just being such a fun read aloud in the month of October. My twins loved it. It was just a great time. A little bit scarier than the other books just because they are nightmares, and that can be kind of scary, but it is all in fun, and it's just a really fun, wacky time. This last one I would say is the scariest of the books I'm recommending, so keep that in mind. This one's Anyas Ghosts. This is by Vera Brosgol. This is another graphic novel, but I would say this one is better for the older end of the middle grade spectrum. In this story we're following Anya, who does not get along with anyone at school. She doesn't really have any friends. She's kind of a loner. And she stumbles onto this ghost that she finds, I think, a bone outdoors when she's on a walk or something, and brings it home and finds out that there's a ghost attached to it. And she tries to make friends with the ghosts, and everything seems to be going well until suddenly things are not going well. The ghost is not a good, kind spirit that she thought it was. It is more malevolent, and now she has to figure out how to get rid of it. I have not done this one as a read aloud, but I have passed this one on to my kids to read, and I think it's just a really fun, creepy book for this time of year. Kind of a Mean Girls vibe to it. So those are my recommendations that I've read. These are ones that I haven't actually read yet, but I want to read them, and I think they would make good spooky season books, but I cannot speak to how scary they are. This one I think is the least scary, and that's Ham Helsing, Vampire Hunter. I bought this for my daughter because she was really into pigs for a while, and I think this is also an ongoing series. This is also a graphic novel, and it's about a pig vampire, like it's a pig vampire hunter. I'm pretty sure this is not scary at all. It's just fun and silly, but it is, you know, vampires and demon slaying and that sort of thing. So, you know, sounds like it's a good time. Next I have Don't Want to Be Your Monster. This one's by Deke Moulton, and it is a story about vampires who are being hunted, and in this story the villain is the vampire slayers. This is also a Jewish twist on a vampire story. Most vampire story, like most vampire mythology, is somewhat anti-Semitic in nature. That's just where a lot of those things came from. And so this is a story where the author flipped that, and now the vampire hunters are the ones that are the bad guys. And so you're following, like, I think 2 vampire brothers as they are trying to get away from this vampire slayer. It sounds fantastic. I really want to read. I'm hoping to pick this up this season because I just really want to read it. And then the last recommendation I have is The Night Gardener. This is by Jonathan Auxier. And I haven't read this yet, but I've been really wanting to because we loved Sweep so much, and I feel like I need to read more of this author's writing. This is the one I know the least about, so I don't know exactly what this is. It's following Irish siblings that are, I think it's in Victorian England. They have to go and move to this new place and creepy things happen. Yeah, it says, the night gardener follows two abandoned Irish siblings who travel to work as servants at a creepy, crumbling English manor house. But the house and its inhabitants are not quite what they seem. Soon the children are confronted by a mysterious stranger and by an ancient curse that threatens their very lives. So it sounds like a perfect fall spooky season read. So those are my recommendations. I hope that I've recommended something to you that you are excited to pick up with your kids this October. And let me know down below what your favorite spooky middle grade books are. I would love to hear about them. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Happy reading. Bye.